That's fine, Phoenix. Ah, Subway X, where X is the number of bits to cheer. Yeah, and you get a bonus on that. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, it's on the cheer, not on the purchase. Exactly, Cold Smart.
Subway 100 bonus 10.
Ah, so there you go. So Shukan showed an example there. Shukan, do you want to direct that? Do you want to put that in the minis dono, or what would you like to do? The stretch? Okay. Done. Thank you. Alright, so the first two NPCs we're going to make are going to be kind of the same. Well, they're going to look the same. The September stretch it's just sort of an extra money collection for when I go out to TwitchCon here soon. I did a fundraiser to help me secure a hotel room and airplane tickets and the money for the ticket itself. And so the September stretch is just, well, if there's loose bits or something that go in there, it's kind of some pocket money, or in this case, it's actually being eaten up by the hotel due to pricing and some things that changed at the last moment. So we are going to be exploring the Maragon. As in our D&D time crossover, they ended up, Pete and Jeremy each ended up pulling one of these figures. And as they were making their band called Inner Demons, which was the theme of the story that came about from opening up 8 figures apiece out of those boxes. TwitchCon is next week, Custos. Yeah, yeah. It is, it is. And they said, you know what? These two would probably make really good bouncers. And I happen to agree, because if you had to go into a diabolical rock concert and you have to walk past these two holding axes that are staring at you and probably, looking to pat you down, making sure you're not bringing contraband in, they're gonna be kind of intimidating, huh? Oh, that's when that big festival's going on, Custos. I remember you talking about that. Oh, well, Baloo, then maybe I can go and shake some hands then. I'm definitely going there to learn and to network. So I'd absolutely love to meet people, Baloo. And so I wanted to ask, well, what is a Maragon besides a creepy baby-faced, big lovable lug? And to get that answer, if any of you have Mordenkainen's or Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, you can find the Maragon right here on 166. And wouldn't you know, there it is. The souls of fallen soldiers, mercenaries, and bodyguards who served evil without reservation often find everlasting servitude in the 9 hells as Maragons. These faceless foot soldiers are the Hell's Legionnaires, tasked with protecting the realm and its rulers against intruders. Masks of Uniformity. Maragons have no individuality, and hence no need for faces. Every Maragon Legionnaire has a metal mask bolted to its head. Markings on the mask indicate the only elements of the wearer's identity that matter: its commander and the layer of the 9 hells it serves. Fearless obedience. Because of their unshakable loyalty, Maragons form the backbone of many devils' protective retinues. They shrink from no task, no matter how dangerous. Unless ordered to fall back, they retreat from no fight. Maragons can't speak, and their telepathy is 1-to-1. Their orderly ranks are easily confused if you slay their shouting masters. So a good little hint from Mordenkainen here about how you might be able to overcome things. They're good people. You met them at KublaCon in San Francisco a couple months back. Well, so Baloo, I mean, you're quickly becoming a facilitator. I would love then to communicate with them and see if we can't, because there is a D&D like an hour meetup time at the convention, and if they're going there and probably going to be there too, I'd love to be able to like pick them out of a crowd and shake hands and go from there. All right, so the Maragon it's a CR4, so pretty tough, right? 1 would be a decent challenge for 4 level 4 characters. Lots of DR, immunity to fire and poison, can't be frightened or poisoned. It has Devil Sight, so it can see in magical darkness, and then it even has regular dark vision. It understands Infernal, but can't speak, but it does have telepathy. When another fiend within 5 feet of the Maragon is hit by an attack, the Maragon causes itself to be hit instead. So, for sure, whether Pete or Jeremy knew this quality of the Maragon, I think they chose a very good bodyguard for the band. And what we can do, so based on the prompt, if we're going with what we're finding in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, then we look perhaps not at who they are, but we can take a look at who they were, because perhaps that could play into the story somehow. And this is also a good way to practice our NPC creation. I think they did a pretty good job replicating what they look like from the drawing. I hope you agree. All right, so we have an NPC worksheet. And to go along with the NPC worksheet, we have our Dungeon Master's Guide. Why the DMG, you ask? That's a very good question that has an answer. Now, moving on, we are going to go to Chapter 3, creating non-player character. I'm sorry, Chapter 4. Creating non-player characters. If you go through the methodology you find here, and you stir it in with a little bit of inspiration, then I think you're going to come up with a wonderful routine to make compelling and memorable NPCs. And if you want to stat out an entire village this way, go ahead. Though, depending on your time constraints, or, PCs don't always interact with the NPCs that you hope. So, use it as much or as little as you'd like. If they're open to communication like that, Baloo, yeah. I mean, I don't want to, like, upset anyone or, like, oh, how did you get a hold of us? Like, no one should have this. I don't want to get you in trouble. But I will definitely let them know that that Baloo sent me over to him. All right, now there's more details you can read about in the DMG, and it doesn't hurt to do, because it's just like a 1 or 2 sentence paragraph each. We have a lot of prompts and setup already. So the step of writing out the sentence per stat line, I don't know if it's necessary for what we're doing in this workshop. Though, if you're just, you want to practice and just kind of make something out of thin air, write that sentence out. Because it's a lot better than just replicating the prompt. Instead, it's forcing you to stop and think, all right, so we had this. I want to write a descriptive sentence that talks about the birthmark or talks about missing fingers. Can you, oh sheeps? If you can, then please. Yeah, that'd be great. And I'd still name drop you, Baloo, just to be safe. All right, so while we have this end product of a Maragon that has a bolted-on baby face, and they're made to look and they're made to look and act in a uniform fashion, maybe we can discover something about who this, evil soldier was, or this element of evil that was conscripted, found themselves in the Hells, and then was taken on by this band called the Inner Demons. So who was our first Maragon? Maragon 1. Occupation and history. Now, this is, if you don't already supply this as the DM, where they're a wholesaler of farm supplies or whatever, we can randomly generate this by doing a fun, quick character creation. Or honestly, if you want to know their occupation, just roll a background. Roll a background from a source of your choice. So first things first, we're actually gonna skip this. I love doing this last because, again, I want to know more about who the person was than just what they were doing. So this is kind of like the background to the background, where backgrounds are taking the place of their class or their race, perhaps in a traditional character maker in our workshop. So let's bring up our handy dandy dice roller and get it going. I'm going to roll a d20 for something that was notable about this person's appearance. We rolled a 1. Distinctive jewelry: earrings, necklace, circlet, bracelets. So we were known for distinctive jewelry, and maybe even part of that, if the band doesn't keep us completely uniform, then we may still wear distinctive jewelry, or that could somehow be a part of the presentation that was allowed to be modified, instead of just being, a barcode stamped Maragon going through the process of the Hells. Now, what are their abilities? Very much, we could probably just say strength would be high. If we go back to the reference here, if you take a look at their strength is 18. Their con is 17. Very, very excellent numbers. However, this is who they are as they have been reincarnated after going to the Hells, after dying in combat under the ruler of, or under, the guise of an evil army authority or whatnot. And so this may not necessarily reflect, like, we get the muscles and the transformation, but again, who were we before this? And when we roll, and we're going to do so in a random fashion, we're going to roll 2d6. So, hey, all right, so strength was high, but con was low. Strength was high, con was low. Now, high and low are guidelines. It doesn't mean we had an 8 in con and a 15 in strength. We could have been some superior, someone who was the general of an army. So we were smart, we were strong, we were dexterous. We took all fighter levels and poured all our ASIs on top of our lucky dice rolls or whatever into our stats. It's simply saying that our constitution was lower than others. So strength could have been 20. We could have been, 20, 17, 16, 16, 16, and cons coming in at a lowly 12. Oh no, only one bonus hit point per level. Or we could honestly say that we had someone who was very strong and was sickly. Because we can divorce strength from constitution. You can be super strong, but you have a weak immune system. You could still have allergies and be a power lifter. Now let's continue. What talent did this person have before their conversion? Roll a d20. We rolled a 3. This person was unbelievably lucky. And how does that play into his or her conversion, then, I wonder? Also, there's a cat. Ta-da. There, actually, about that scale, she looks like a little parrot on my shoulder for T-Lap Day. Hey. And a mannerism. How did, what was something we were known for? You know, always kind of like tapping our fingers or clicking our fingers, or it doesn't even have to be about fingers. Anyway, let's roll a d20 and find out. We rolled a 20. Twirls hair or tugs beard. We were always fidgeting with our hair. Is rolling dice all the time too meta of a mannerism? I suppose, Tesla, I suppose that would be. Oh, it's fine, Phoenix. I appreciate even just desiring to do so, let alone, you know, let alone it manifesting. And I understand the circumstances for it. Oh, we have before. In fact, I'll tell you what, if you all want to do that, so I'll tell you what, Baloo, let's find out, how did this character interact with other people? Baloo, I would like you to type exclamation point 1d12 for me. Geoman76, welcome. Baloo's Clues, 1d12. 1d12. Oh, the first is a Tuesday? Lands on a 3. I'll think about that, Custos. With a heads up, maybe we can do something something special for that occasion. All right, so we got a 3. Blustering. A blustering person. Well, you know, that is to say, as you see, therefore hitherto, and circumstantial, implying implications, you know, all sorts of et ceteras and hitherforths. Now, the useful knowledge I keep because it could be very important for an NPC. Oh, bye. Now, in this case, I'm leaving it blank so we can always go back and fill that in. It's an excellent little black box that if you're wondering how to get an NPC with certain traits worked into a world, the knowledge that it has would be that avenue. And so it's a good sort of like a spillover. All right, next up, we have an ideal. We actually need 2 ideals. And so, Phoenix Rising, would you be so kind to type exclamation point 1d6 for me? Phoenix might have stepped away. All right, so Blood Deuce, would you type exclamation point 1d6 for me? All right, Blood Deuce rolled a 2. So our first ideal, we go from good, and well, we're over at evil. So I think this works out well. So he had some sort of an evil or selfish ideal. And of course, we can interpret evil in a lot of different ways. Kitty Bird the Shiny, you say you're taking notes as we go. I hope this is helpful. And you can download these templates off of our Discord. Kitty Bird, would you also type exclamation point 1d6? And let's find out what kind of an evil ideal that we held in life before we turned into a Maragon. We rolled a 4. So it's domination, greed, might, pain. Pain. So we really loved pain. Probably causing it, maybe even receiving it. You know? So it goes both ways. Now for our bond. What kept us around in the world? To what, where, or whom did we share a link? Oh Sheeps, could you type exclamation point 1d10 for me? Lands on a 1. Dedicated to fulfilling a personal life goal. Maybe the life goal was to actually become a Maragon. Maybe we knew what we were getting into. All right, Age of Tesla. Can you please type exclamation point 1d12? And let's find out this character's flaw or secret that they had in their life. You also rolled a 1. Ah. A forbidden love or susceptibility to romance. Oh, hi. Oh, you want to play fetch? Whoop, it fell. Bye. Where'd it go? I don't know. She brought a ring and jumped up and meow, and boop, it fell. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Are you saying you want this little old thing? Huh? You want this ring? Yeah? You want the ring? All right. Well, I don't know. You got to convince me. Huh? Can you meow? I guess that works. All right. Ready? Go get it. Bye. It's no problem, Phoenix. And hi, 12 for 10. Welcome. All right. So they're good for her because they're flexible, and so they she can like pull and stretch at them. Oh, the cats, yeah, they make for great cat toys. And it slides really well too. All right, so let's put a little finishing touch on here. We understand this person's personality. They were unbelievably lucky, and yet they had some sort of a forbidden love. They had this ideal of pain, and they're dedicated to fulfilling a life goal. What kind of a person do we have? Who was this person in life that would die? That would die for some sort of an evil cause, enough that, or that they would sacrifice themselves, or something along those lines, that when they did die, their soul went to the 9 hells and was turned into this Maragon soldier. You know, did we have someone who was oh, you back, huh? Did we have someone who would have been sort of like a sadistic torturer, You know, not that we're in context. So, I mean, we could talk about things like that. You know, we don't have to be excruciatingly detailed, but we do have someone that that did have a bit of a fouled past. Now he could have been unbelievably lucky because maybe he just thought, you know, he had these thoughts, never acted on them, or he was lucky that he actually got, you know, through life he wasn't caught, well, until he was, or she. We could roll a female character too. And their soul could have been going someplace else, but instead it was actually pulled into this Maragon form that was being commissioned by the band, so that they had some security guards. Because we can, you know, we could talk about, you know, evil people, their souls are going to hell and such. There is a little bit of lightheartedness that is sort of baked into this, though, because we are presenting this concept of a fiendish, a fiendish rock band. Just because you lost it doesn't mean you get to tear everything up. I don't know where it is. I have no idea. I don't see it. I don't have it. Some would say love is pain. Blustering so he doesn't have confident social skills. Oh, their lover betrayed them. Oh, so there could have been a crime of passion, Phoenix? Hi. I swear I don't have it. Look. Yeah. I don't know where it went. Is it lost in the boxes? I don't have it. It's nowhere to be had. Nope, not on the sides of my chair. I don't know. You're going to have to go find another one. All right. This is like awkward Thanos' Age of Tesla. Good morning, Syart. So, all right. So here we might have had someone had an awkward love. Maybe even followed this person. The love might not have been reciprocated. Someone who loves pain. So maybe he was used to purchasing affection from others, and he took that kind of, I'm so awkward and maybe I deserve pain, to mask for the other pains in his life. And so he secured professional pain-causing services. You know, but it was odd, right? That was his way of trying to become stronger, because his, you know, with a lower constitution, he could have been strong, but maybe he just he succumbed to illness, or something happened at some point in time. He might have been sickly, and of course, you know, there are places to find love that would not accept people who have certain illnesses. Oh, jeez, do I have a cat hair in my eye? I love you, ma'am, but come on. And so we have someone who might do this nervously, twirls his hair or tugs his beard. And so we have this initial concept, but now what about building into who he was before then? And that could be the occupation and history. A crime of passion, yeah. At Age of Tesla, yeah, that could very much be. You know, someone, you know, we don't even have to say disease or sickly. It could also just be a measure of stamina. And maybe to him and his culture where he had come from, that was something that was seen as, you know, to be super embarrassed about. It could even come from age, too, 12 for 10. Absolutely. Now, to do that, hang on, let me bring it over. Ma'am, you're making me lean a little bit here. So let's bring this up, and we're going to do just a quick... We're going to do a quick character randomizer here. That's the first time you've seen her face? Oh. Yeah, don't be a stranger. Come on, man. Oh, Phoenix, you gotta hop off? Oh, sure. Yep, have a good night, Phoenix. Thank you for being a part of our workshop. All right, so we're not going to fill out an entire character sheet. I'm not too worried about that. Let's just hit on some things here. So we actually have a female character who was a dwarf, and in particular, a female hill dwarf. A female hill dwarf who was a criminal. And in particular, she was a criminal number 2. And what that means is, let's go to chapter 4. She was a burglar. She burgled. Go back to the quick character gen. And if it's important, it might not be, because again, we're just looking at the final product here. But if you want to roll for a class and a subclass, then we roll our D12. 4. She was a druid. A Circle of the Land druid, if you want to take it that far. Could become actually a cat burglar if she wanted to. And we can come down here and we can generate her age, or the age at which she died. Which, let's give it a go. Why not? Hill dwarf, real quick. Percentile, where in her life was she? We rolled an 84, so she was old. 1d59. Whoops. Plus 223 years. She was 230 years old. Shukan, welcome back. That could be age. It could be that she has this compulsion to steal, and she uses her druidic gifts to do so. And perhaps she feels that she needs to make up for it. And the way to do that, because she's so used to her body changing, might actually be because, you know, she has curative abilities, she has restorative abilities, would be to experience pain. And if not on her dwarven body, then on her animal body. She had a crush on people. She'd follow people. You know, so she could incorporate that into her pursuits or her lust that could have gone too far. And then something happened, and she died. And as she died with this, you know, regretful soul, or this soul, honestly, that, you know, it was a crime of passion, and she wouldn't take it back, because that was going to be the natural course of things. It had to happen. And so instead of being absorbed into the life tree or the big mountain or whatever would have been the case, her soul was sent hurtling through the hells. And it was interesting enough that apparently the band members saw it and said, yeah, drop that one into a Maragon for us, please, and thank you. But she could look, druids make awesome thieves. I mean, as much as you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play a rogue because I want to be a master thief. Play a druid. A criminal druid like this that gets lockpicking tools and all this stuff. That's your master thief right there. Absolutely. And so yeah, and so she could have been. Oh, welcome back, Baloo. I'm sitting back and looking at this like, yeah, I see where we're going. And so she was pursuing, she stole. Let me see. I'm trying to put these thoughts together here. The low con honestly could have been supplemented by her being a druid as well. There's a character in Fire Emblem who's a knight in bulky armor, but he has so little personal presence that he's basically invisible. I remember a knight that was like that. I played, there's a Fire Emblem, was it on 3DS? It was the one, you fought zombies that were coming in through portals. I might have been Awakening. Yeah, Kellum sounds familiar, yeah. Yeah, he'd stand in a room and people would talk about him like he's not there. And he's like, I'm here. And they still wouldn't talk to him. Druid can spider into a hole under a door, hiding. Yeah, exactly, Baloo. And all the stuff they steal gets made into a part of them. So she died. She was causing pain to others or herself. Even like lived a life of depravity, we might say. Maybe she spent her ill-gotten gains on carnal satisfaction, or whether that is, that might imply flesh, or, she would fence things and she would, she would buy stuff for herself instead of, maybe even arguably a more notable, like a Robin Hood style. And so she died, and she was picked to be a Maragon guard. Nobody here but us chickens. And so here, as the Maragons seem to be souls that are just sort of, put into a particular body. Though if we want to say, you know what, she maintains her body, like, so her uniform is the same, or at least mostly. So we could still have this, stacked dwarf. With the mask on and the armor and the cape and all that, because maybe, especially by being incredibly lucky, maybe she was able to retain some of her features, and that adds to the soul. That adds to the flair. The soul. It adds to the flair, the presentation that the band is looking for, and I think this makes sense too, especially if she did have this kind of tortured soul, or maybe she stole, but then she, either paid someone to cause her pain, or she caused it herself, or even a mix of both to make up for it. As the band name is that of inner demons, and inner demons imply, that we're wrestling with ourselves, that we have temptations that we want to give into, and maybe sometimes do, and we might feel bad about it afterwards. And so I could see a conflicted character like this being drawn and really resonating with the band, as she was then sort of stamped, made into a Maragon, and then stamped and given over to them to act as guards. All right, so now what about Maragon 2? You've already seen what we do here with the process, so we don't have to go through. It's Merregon, E-G-O-N. There we go. And if you all think of a name for her, then you're welcome to throw it there, because we're talking about who she was, and maybe the band members might even know and will refer to her as such, even if she can't, retort. So now we have Maragon 2, as we said that their two head bouncers were Maragons. What I'd like to do to mix it up a little bit, because we know that we're going in this direction for this Maragon, but we saved our occupation and history for last, and worked on the other concepts first, to get the more nebulous, who is this character? What is the character's character? And now I like to mix it up and challenge it and say, let's generate these stats first, and then apply the random results back to it. Instead of having everything draw to a point, let's do it in reverse and start with a point and expand with these connecting strings. Pardon me. Who knew soda made you burp, right? I looked there. There's no warning labels about that. There are no warning labels on soda saying that it causes this this rupturous medical condition. All right, so our second Maragon is starting out with this 86. All right, so we have a male character who is a gnome, a male gnome, particularly a rock gnome. Yes, of course it would be a rock gnome. A male rock gnome of the background. Also a criminal. Oh, goodness. All right, I'd say what are the odds, but it's 1 in 18. And instead of a burglar, instead of rolling a 2, we rolled a 1. A blackmailer. All right. Male rock gnome. Criminal. Blackmailer. So we had someone who would extort others. Someone who would, eavesdrop. Someone that would spy, and had no shame about saying, pay me 10 gold a month, or even a week. Otherwise, I'm gonna let a certain someone know a certain something that you did. I know what you did last summer. The fact we're looking for damned souls and we're getting a blackmailer and a burglar, let alone anything else here. Now, let's go back to our quick character gen. And this blackmailer was we rolled a 9. A rogue? What? A rogue criminal? And in particular, this rogue was a 3. A thief. Invoke the name of Iwi. Look. It's these things, well, it's they write themselves. They write themselves. And when did our little blackmailer here die? Let's find out. Rock gnome, roll percentile. Rolled a 55, so we have an adult rock gnome. So it's a D 165. Or no, I'm sorry, it's a 165 plus 40. $92. So we have an adult at age 92. He died. He was a thief and a blackmailer. Hey, Trustaflumph. Hey, we're giving backstories to our Maragon security guards. And Trustaflumph, my goodness. Swiggles and swaggles. So in life, and by the way, if you have Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, they're in there, Trustaflumph. And going through it, it's the prompt for a Maragon is it was someone who served a wicked cause and sort of died in battle or something along those lines. And so, for guards, they actually work very well, as that's what Maragon are. And so when we're making them as NPCs, maybe they were allowed to retain a little bit of their individuality, and so how could they still have some markings or a little bit of their past that is a part of the flavor as they're working security for the inner demons? And our first character here, as we made her, she certainly did have inner demons. She fought with herself. She was into pain. She was a burglar. So there could have been, criminal acts there. There was also an act of passion involved that probably led to the death of a lover or someone she stalked. Now, Maragon 2, we just started, and instead of going with the background stuff first and then generating some of the details about the character, we're starting with the character details here, and now we're going to add nuance to it. And so, at the age of death, we have an adult rock gnome who is a rogue thief and a blackmailer criminal. That might have been because they were in turmoil, and so when the souls were in hell, and the band was like, yeah, we got to get some security, and they go to the Maragon factory or whatever, they see a soul that really just resonates with who they are, and they chose, you know what, that person has inner demons right there. Yep, pop her into a Merregon bodysuit. Yeah, that gnome over there, pop him into a Maragon too. No problem, lurk away, bubonic one. Yeah, be a lurky boy. All right, now that we have this as our prompt, like, ultimately we know he's a Maragon, but who was he before that in life? We had this blackmailer thief. Yeah, lurk away, Kyra. Now we're going to go back and generate some numbers. Trust-a-Flump, can you please roll exclamation point 1d20 for me? Seven. All right, so in life, he was missing teeth. Now, did that happen maybe because he was punched out? Right? Someone was angry at the blackmail and that happened? Was it because he was in a fight of some other kind? Or honestly, was it just because a sweet tooth? And or some people are born with weak teeth. It's a genetic thing. You could brush and floss and fluoride every day, several times a day, and sometimes you just have weak teeth. It could be hygienic, yeah. It could be hygienic too, I mean. 12 for 10. Maybe he was born with it like that. All right, now what about his abilities? We actually, I'll tell you what, 12 for 10, can you please type in exclamation point 4d6? Because you're going to be generating numbers for the abilities and for the ideal. 1, 5, 3, and 2. 1 and 5. And then for the ideal, I'm just going to put 3 and 2. All right, so he also had a high strength. It works, right? If you need a bouncer. Not that, if you're kind of slotted into a Maragon body, that's going to have intrinsic strength. Still, though, if you knew how to use it in life, well. So we were a high strength, low wisdom. We didn't have a lot of common sense, which might have been how we were caught. Or how we fell into, or even how we fell off a roof. And if we didn't fall off a roof by our own volition, maybe we fell off a roof because someone got upset that we had dirt on them. Maybelline, Gingivita. I could still entertain it in my head, oh sheeps. And you should be proud. Puns and wordplay are always welcome. A potion of Listerine. Okay, Baloo. And again, just because we're a strength, our high strength could have been 14, and our low wisdom could have been 10. Or it could be 6, and our strength could have been prodigious at 20. This is just a prompt to get you to think more about the character. All right, next up, what was a talent that we had? Baloo's Clues, I know you're on a bit of a delay, but please type exclamation point 1d20 when you get a chance. Baloo's Clues, exclamation point 1d20 when you can. I guess this character you may get the chance to prove that dynamite does come in small packages. Oh, you made an explosion mage? There's an anime about that. Rolls on gets a 10. Draws beautifully. And you know what? When you want to blackmail someone and you're hanging out on a roof and you're looking through a window, and you can draw someone like you know, in a compromising position. Well, oh my, says yeah. So you know you're up in a tree and you're looking through the the lord and lady's curtain to their bedroom, except the lady's not with the lord, the lady's with the pool boy. Then yeah, he loves to sketch. It has probably a lot of lewd etchings or compromising deals, right? You capture someone making a shady deal in a back alleyway as well. The town crier, yeah. $12 for 10. Thanks for hanging out and contributing. 12 for 10. Before you go, roll a d20. And your legacy will live on tonight in our NPC. So yes, as a part of blackmailing, he might send a sketch and say, you like what you see, or rather you don't? Well, it so happens that I would love to receive 100 gold pieces a month for my silence. All right, 12 for 10. I need a 1d20. Stops on a 7. All right. No, you're fine. And so the mannerism that this person has is he whispers. So, I saw some things. And, yeah. I think we're going to have to remedy this. I don't want the information, which means you could buy it off of me. Capiche? And there we go. Tends to whisper. Keeps things on the down low. You never know who's following you, especially if your wisdom's low. Eat rock. Oh, that'd be very crispy. I have some water chestnuts. Water chestnuts would be fun. Now, how did he interact with other people before he died? It's different from a mannerism. A mannerism is something that you tend to do yourself. He tends to whisper. When he interacts with others, though, when he's putting on a front, perhaps, for someone else, what happens? Kyra, can you please type exclamation point 1D12? Stops on a 1. Argumentative. So he gets the goods. And he makes a scene. Despite whispering, he tends to make a scene. You know, he kind of pulls someone by the collar. He has to be standing on a stool, I guess. Pulls someone from the collar. I don't think you understand what's at stake. What I saw through the curtains. Now pay up, or else. Lets him go. And then, the argumentative then turns into a bit of a crime of passion. And in fact, I could almost say, what if something happened that the crime of passion was that our second Maragon, our blackmailer, saw our burglar get involved in something. And those two ended up having a bit of a scuffle. And they died in that scuffle. And so their two souls, as kind of at odds as they are, were sent to hell together. And there, these two conflicted souls were put into Maragons, with the ultimate irony of them serving alongside each other. Yeah, there you go, Baloo. Yeah, do you like my artwork? And you slide it across. No, that wouldn't work, Custos. You could wish to get rid of disadvantage for a normal roll, or you could wish for a normal roll to be at advantage, though. Or if anyone, I haven't been keeping track, if anyone was locked in the donjon, you could wish for them to escape the donjon. You could wish for Kyra. Yeah, you could wish for Kyra to get her stuff back. Yep, all of Kyra's shinies are gone now. So some of these are good roleplay prompts also, especially the wishes. The wishes are primarily meant for roleplay. So like maybe one to turn advantage could be fine. But really the wishes are more of a roleplay prompt with the deck. All right, useful knowledge. Again, that's kind of a black box. What would this NPC know, or what could this NPC communicate telepathically to maybe the party after they discover, who he was or parts of this? Or the Maragons might have a clue about the murder mystery of who killed the town prize chicken, and but they're tight-lipped about it until they know that they could trust the PCs or something along those lines. All right, now what about our ideal? As was rolled before on the 46, our remaining two numbers are 3 and 2. A lawful ideal of fairness. So maybe he only blackmailed people that he thought were, that were very compromising for who they are, what they did. He felt that he was upholding the law by going on this sort of vigilante, right? He was methodical. He'd stalk people from the rooftops. He'd follow them and wait for the moment to get that prize sketch in his book to blackmail. And he wanted to do this out of a sense of fairness because perhaps someone was avoiding paying their taxes. Someone who made a religious vow was going back on it after the candles were blown out. Things along those lines. You're going to go to sleep? Got a busy day tomorrow? Well, Trust the Flump, I'm glad you could join us at least a little bit for some of these NPC characters. Real quick, Trust the Flump, is there another NPC that you would like to see us go through and flesh out tonight? Now, what about what's a bond? A person, a place, a thing that meant something to our character. Whichever inspires. All right, Trust the Flump, you go to bed, and we're gonna do some more work then. Oh, it is good to know it. Getting packages is fun, Shukan. Shukan, can you please type exclamation point 1D10? Got a 2. Protective of close family members. All right, so perhaps there was a scuffle with the law, or that this person had a brother or sister that had their heart broken, or perhaps there was a something with parents, with a marriage, a remarriage, a divorce. Or just protecting the family from an evil landlord that, could have been a better person, and so he ended up getting dirt. And suddenly the landlord started paying them. They owed no rent, and they were actually getting paid by the landlord. Oh, that's cool. And so he did it to protect his family. And this feeling then of empowerment and justice went a little too far. And it was enough to get the tendrils of evil coiled around his soul, so that when he died, well, we know the rest of the story. Well, we'll see what we get on the flaw, because that's going to be rolled next. Oh, Sheeps, can you please roll a d12 for me, please? I said please twice. People who lie about how good they are, says Baloo, doesn't care if you cheat on your wife. But the mayor displays a facade of family values, but then is meeting urchins in dark alleys late at night. He'd have to do something about that. Yeah, exactly, Baloo. Yeah, you know, something along those lines of, yeah, you know, he's, he is a two-faced person, you know, where he's, all this and, certain whatever moral upholdings and a particular way of life, and then of course, while trying to vouch for those values, does the opposite when supposedly no one's looking except our brave, if not misguided, rock gnome. Oh, Sheeps, you roll a 5 on a d12. And our flaw or our secret is overpowering greed. And for a blackmailer, I'll tell you, that certainly is going to get you to step in it at some point. You think that you've grown, I've pulled this off with so many other people. I'm going to go after the mayor next. Or I'm going to go after someone of high civic, religious, military value. And suddenly you realize, oh, I'm in way over my head. And now I'm not just shaking down people who could afford to spare a little silver every week to keep your mouth shut. Now we have people who could afford, 100 gold a month. They can also afford, an assassin to kill you. And what do they have to do? Because at that point, you've already proven yourself. See, that's the danger of being a blackmailer. There's always that risk that you expose yourself because you have to be a credible enough threat. You have to be a credible enough threat. And that has a certain amount of exposure tied to it. And if you overstep yourself as a blackmailer and the general finds out that that you have been spying on military research that might be unethical, then suddenly, yeah, you're probably not going to stick around too much longer. I thought there might have been a top 10 command. Yeah. Yeah, I thought there was a top... do exclamation point command. Or commands. Because I thought there was a leaderboard of some kind. It might even be leaderboard. And so again, we have another conflicted soul. Someone who wants to do the right thing and ends up hurting others. And it from something that started out as justice turns into greed. And then he dies. Or dies. His soul plummets to hell. And there, squirming, writhing in agony, we meet, or he meets, the inner demons, who take a look at his soul, sort of naked and afraid and wiggling around in the hells, and say, you know what? That's a tortured person right there. That's someone who really has some inner conflict going on. Someone who perhaps had a lesson to learn. You're hired. Slot him into a Maragon, and let's get going. There you go. You got it. Diadems has, because he very rarely, if ever, duels or battles. And you get bonus experience points for subs, donations, and bits. And so he's probably gotten a lot of experience off of gifting subs and the like, Shukon. And also, Diadems has been a part of the channel for about the almost the entirety of the year and a half that I've been broadcasting. All right, so everyone, we have 2 awesome NPCs. And hey, Hypnotic, I'm going to get up and take a little bit of a break. When we come back, I want you to think about what other band members would you like to see made up as NPCs. We have the drummer, which is a Glabrezu. We already made our Maragon bouncers. The lead singer is an Arenyes. And Arenyes is, Succubi are more of the sensual, more the charismatic. Arenyes are the hellish Valkyries. We have 2 spined devils. One is on bass, the other's on guitar. We have a Narzagon, and we can find the stat block for Narzagon as well in Mordenkainen's, who is the, although he's more of a villain, so never mind. He wouldn't be an NPC for tonight. Also, the Flesh Golem, Mickey, would be probably statted as a villain, a minor villain. We have a Chain Devil, who's their biggest fan, who's in their mosh pit. We have their manager, Olianthus, the band manager. There's an Armonite, who's a crew member, who's sort of like the roadie. Hey, Nebraska Dave! Oh, hey, Shukan, yeah. Oh, so this is, oh, wow. Shukan, you're very generous, thank you. Yeah, Roadie stage crew. The Armonite is crew. The Spine Devil is also crew. The Spine Devil's sort of like the backstage security. Kind of keeps its wings out and tells people that they can't get past. We also have an NPC of a Babao. And the Babao is just a happy, somewhat like their biggest fan who goes to all their concerts and is really positive. Like, yeah, these guys really speak to me. I'm half demon and half devil. And, you know, they're made of demons and devils. And they're, and so we just have like a very optimistic super fan as well. Man, all of those subs, Shukan, you are so generous. So to all of you out there who are aboard, welcome, and let's give you some Matty Morgs emotes that you can share in as well. All right, I'm going to get up and take about a 10-minute break, get a snack and a drink, and we're going to come back, and I want you to tell me 2 more NPCs that you would love to see statted out like this.